Ready? All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Dan Krachevsky, aka Danny K. Dank. Let's talk some behind the scenes of Honk Your Horn Halloween Special Part 2, The Showdown. Yeah, wait for this train to pass. Yeah, where's this? This can't be rolling around. About to shoot the Halloween Special Part 2. This is going to be a long day. This is going to be tough. We're determined. It is a good dialogue, though. I think. And yeah, so the line is, it was really too long of a name, right? Maybe we can both agree on that. So the inspiration of doing a part 2 was because I work in the industry and I got to work on Halloween Ends for one solid week because I knew somebody. And I flew myself out there to Savannah, Georgia to make that dream come true. It was a passion project. Michael Myers, Halloween, totally my jam. I am not a big horror fan, but for some reason, that movie, that character, that music, I like it. So Halloween is approaching, and I'm just like, man, I really kind of want to do another one, get some new content out there, but also I'm just hyped for the movie coming out. I want to get back into that Michael Myers outfit. And so the original idea was I'm going to make something and kind of promote Halloween Ends. And it's going to be 6 to 10 minutes, somewhere along the lines of the first part. As you can see, it turned into 20 minutes. And we didn't promote Halloween Ends at all. But it's got Michael Myers in it. I knew in this second part, I wanted to get Vader and Michael to actually fight because we teased a fight in the original part, but it never happened. This one, I'm like, no. Vader and Michael are actually going to throw down. And that was the main idea. It was going to be a little bit of trick-or-treating with Dan and Vader, and then immediately get into Michael and Vader dueling it out. I've been saying this a lot, but this is, to this day, the most difficult Honk Your Horn content I've created. And I do it all by myself. It's not for bragging rights. It's not that I feel like I don't need anybody else. It's because this is my playpen. This is something that feeds my soul because sometimes I just want to film something, I just want to create something, and this show gives me that opportunity. The answer to why it is the most difficult project I've done is not a vague answer. It's this whole behind the scenes special. Let's get into it. In the beginning, I thought it would be cool to add a little bit of Honk Your Horn flair. Dan and Vader in the car. That's how we see this show. That's where the show came from. I also tried to mimic some shots from the original film, just like I did in the first Halloween special. Dan and Vader pull up to about the same spot as Michael Myers does when Annie and Laurie pull up to the hardware store. They get out, they start walking. Dan and Vader see the Myers house. Vader's all, ugh. Dan's like, oh, stop this nonsense. right there, it's like we're filming in public. That is an annoyance because I gotta make sure people don't think that I'm trying to record them. Some people don't want to be recorded. But I'm a dedicated, passionate filmmaker, so I'm making it work. So I do the trick-or-treating stuff, and then I gotta get into the Myers outfit. So I gotta set up the shot, run all the way over there, do the shot, walk away, do an empty plate shot of Michael not being there. All these things have to be planned out, otherwise, because time is running out. I'm thinking I'm going to shoot this in one day. I can get all this in one day, right? One day, one night. No. The first day I focused on the trick-or-treating, the Michael Myers sightings, and some of the nighttime stuff with Vader walking off, going on his own adventure to find Michael. I had one disturbance the entire shoot. There was an older couple who got out of a fancy black SUV. They walked into their condo, fancy apartment, whatever it is. While I was doing the scene where Vader sees Michael a second time, Dan's like, no, I'm done. I'm over this. Well, I was very loud. I was like screaming. The wife comes out up top and asks me, how long am I going to be screaming for? I'm like, I was going to do maybe one more take. She's like, we just got home from a very long trip and we were trying to take a nap. I'm like, okay. On one end, I'm like, well, I got to make this show. On the other end, it's like, I get it. So I don't think I ended up doing another take because the last take that I did was the final take anyways, and I was okay with it. I kept the car parked in the same spot the whole time, even past my 2-hour limit. I was a little concerned I was going to get a ticket, but I'm like, even if I do, it's worth not moving that car because I'm going to need it for a nighttime shot anyways. Which was Dan running towards the car to see if Vader was there after he just vanishes. Believe it or not, I didn't get to any of the fight that first night. When did we finish that first night? It was like almost 3 in the morning. That's right. That first night we got all of Vader walking through the different parts of the neighborhoods. Most of it, not all of it. We added some the next night. Did where Michael first appears and chases Vader through the alleyway. It was running and gunning. I had to reset. The camera setup was just one after the other after the other. I had to be so quiet because I was in an alleyway, so any little noise I made would be heard all over. Some people have asked me if I used a real knife for this show, and I did. Because the fake knife that I used in the original looks like crap, and it doesn't shine. There's no glare to it. And these are all night scenes, and you gotta be able to see that knife. I was super careful. Nobody was around me. And I just did it. And when I wasn't using it, it was hidden to the best of my abilities. Nobody stopped me. I don't think anyone really saw it though either. So I did as best that I could. Shout out to my buddy Robert, who I ran into in the middle of Haddonfield, and we talked for like an hour. He's the one that I pass, asking if he's seen Vader, right where the Scream 2 theater is. I also believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I did the stuff in front of the Myers house that night as well, with Vader walking up to the Myers house, knocking on the door. And then it was kind of a last second thing, but I'm like, it would be really cool to replicate to the best of my abilities, the opening shot of the original Halloween, but in a different way, of course, because he doesn't go to the front door. He just kind of trucks on the side. He looks on the side of the house, then he backs up a little bit and then looks up at Judith's room and then goes back into the backyard and whatever. I did it a tad bit differently, starting from the front door, going to the side, then looking up at Judith's room and continuing on into the back to where you don't see anything. Obviously, Vader is looking for Michael. Vader's like, I'm coming for you. You freaked me out enough. I'm handling this myself. I'm coming for you. That shot took about, I think, at least 5 or 6 tries. Like, it was a little bit difficult because I had to keep it steady. Now, I had a very steady tripod, mini tripod, but coming down the stairs was the hardest part. That had to be as steady as possible. There's a motion sensor light on the side of the Myers house, and I tried my best for that not to go off, and it kept going on. And then in the last take, I'm like, screw it. I don't care if the motion light comes on. And then sure enough, I actually got it without the motion light going on, because I noticed a father and a son walking towards the side of the house, and I'm like, oh, they were able to walk to the back and the sensor didn't go off. So there is a way to bypass the motion sensor light. So night 2 was all fight stuff. Except for the beginning of the night, I did add some more shots of Vader walking through the neighborhood. That's when I did the really lit up house, when Vader looks up and there's that skeleton hanging from the tree, the rock band on top of the house. These are some fancy decorations. If you've never been to South Pasadena during Halloween, you gotta check it out. It's amazing. So we actually mimicked a scene that we did in the first part, which was Dan saying thank you to the house that gives Vader candy. That's what we assume, like he's going trick-or-treating. So I say thank you. I'm like, all right, come on, Vader. We did that same thing, except this time we actually did it at the Rob Zombie Laurie Strode house. I'm thinking there's got to be more things I can do to kind of tip my hat towards the original Halloween that I didn't do in the first part. There's a lot of things. There's still more things that I could do. I had this idea that these two would fight in a park. I didn't know which park it was going to be. I scouted Sunday early evening before the sun went down, and I came across the park that we eventually shot at. That was the first one I looked at. I looked at a couple more, but they just didn't fit what I was trying to do. Also, lighting is an issue. As good as the iPhone is in the dark, it still needs some kind of light. And this one was the most lit out of all of the ones that I looked at, but it also had a good look. My biggest issue, which delayed me so many times throughout the night, is the cross street. I didn't want cars in the background of the shots. There's a couple shots. I did get some cars. It is what it is. I can only do so much. I got to keep it moving. But this was another 6 to 7 hour shoot day. I lost so much sleep. My biggest concern was this is a park that doesn't technically close until 10 p.m. One, are there going to be people hanging around until 10 p.m.? Thank God there really wasn't. But two, what if I'm not done by 10 p.m.? Are cops going to come over and try to kick me out and then try to get me in trouble for having a real knife and dressing up in a Michael Myers costume? I had one couple stop at that nasty bathroom that you see Vader check out. The gentleman, who I assume was driving, went inside to use the bathroom. The lady came out with her dog to let her dog go to the bathroom, and she came all the way by like where the swing sets were, I was in the middle of filming that portion of me in the Myers costume going after Vader, and I swear she looked at me, and I swear she stared at me, and I don't know what the expression on her face was, but she was definitely staring at me, probably wondering what in the world is going on here. Who is this guy? What is he doing here? I'm like, I'm not gonna put the mask on. I'm gonna wait for her to leave, put the mask on, hopefully resume this. Coming up with this fight was sort of difficult, but then as soon as it kind of got started, it became a little bit easier. The playground made the choreography actually way easier. If I had no playground to play with, I don't know how I would have done this fight. That night was literally so exhausting because I beat myself up a lot. It was a lot of run and gun, putting the mask on, taking the mask off, falling on the ground. Luckily, in each take where I fall, I didn't have to do that more than once. Every time I fell, I got it on the first take. Vader throwing the wood chips in my face. Difficult. It was all about the framing. I had to frame it to where you couldn't see me throw wood chips in my own face. That also sucked. Wood chips got everywhere. In the coveralls, pockets, just everywhere. In Michael's hair. And I like that mask. I like to keep it in good shape, so I had to make sure by the end of the shoot that all that stuff was out. I said this in the behind the scenes of part 1 before, and I'll say it again. Vader's lightsaber is on a timer. You click that button, it lights up. It stays on for about 4 seconds, 5 seconds tops, and then it shuts off. So imagine setting up every shot knowing you have a very limited amount of time doing that. Not fun. The amount of coverage that I had to get was just insane. You got Vader and Michael Showdown. Reaction shots of Michael. Reaction shots of Vader. Close-up of Vader. Michael walking towards Vader with the knife. Lightsaber going off, quickly moving. Insert of Michael's knife going into the ground. A different point of view of knife already in ground. Looking up, taking it out. Vader standing up there. Michael walking towards the bridge on the playground. Shot of Vader on the bridge. Behind Michael approaching the bridge. The other insert of the knife going through the bridge. Michael goes to the circular part. They can get Vader there. I'm trying to knock it down. Doesn't get him. Michael walks around. Vader goes down. Vader's at the slide. Vader goes down the slide. Michael, insert of Michael doing the knife. He misses. Walking. I mean, it's just so. I could go on and on about all these inserts and setups. It was just exhausting. I had to also create moments of suspense without Michael being there. You know, music getting suspenseful, and all of a sudden you just see the swings swinging. Or like Vader going into the bathroom door swings open, camera moves in. From Vader's point of view, nobody's in the bathroom. Like, it couldn't just all be Michael. Hard to say what time it was when I actually finished the fight, but I mean, even Michael picking up Vader and then bringing the knife up to him. One shot of Vader on the ground. Then I had to move the camera up a little bit higher, show him that I'm bringing it up higher. Final setup, I think it was only 3, but 3 different camera angles showing my arm, because I'm doing this all by myself. And then Vader like struggling, but also, you know, then I gotta do him using, you know, close up of his arm, using the force while I'm still holding him, and then, oh my goodness. Then I had to change out of my outfit, get back into Dan mode. Oh my gosh, Vader, I found you. I've been looking all over for you. Then for the rest of the night, I'm Dan. I went to the pumpkin patch. And then the most uncomfortable scene I gotta do is scream Vader at the top of my lungs at 1 o'clock in the morning in South Pasadena. But it was a good time to do it because nobody was around. And as soon as I screamed Vader, I grabbed my tripod, my phone, I get in that car, and I booked it out of there. Because Lord only knows someone's going to say something, even if it was just one scream. They're going to be like, what the heck was that? You never know. People are crazy. I'm crazy, though, too. I guess that's why I made this. Night 3 was literally just the stuff at the Doyle and Wallace house. I'm like, I can't do another Halloween special and not feature these 2 houses. I have to. And that only took about an hour. I easily could have banged my head on that tree. Thank God I didn't. I needed a good shot of me hitting that tree in the close-up. The farther shot didn't need to be as good. But in that moment, I'm like, I don't want to do this more times than I have to. So when you combined day 1, night 1, night 2, and night 3, it adds up to somewhere between 18 and 19 hours total for this project, which typically is not the time it takes me to make an episode of Honk Your Horn. There's a lot of big dialogue scenes in Honk Your Horn, so I can get a whole episode done in a few days, but only like sometimes 3 or 4 hours each day, and then it's over with. This was a monster, and I'm so appreciative of everybody watching this. I mean, the view number has blown every other Honk Your Horn piece of content out of the water. So thank you all for watching this special. Again, I worked really hard on it. This guy worked really hard on it, as hard as he could. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this little behind the scenes special. Stay tuned. We got more stuff coming. We're not close to being done yet.
That is a wrap on Michael Myers. Honk Your Horn Halloween Special Part 2. That is a wrap on Honk Your Horn Halloween Special Part 2, the Showdown. This was by far the hardest Honk Your Horn production ever. I thought this was going to be a 1 day, 1 night shoot. It turned into a 1 whole day and 2.5 night shoot. Crazy. And I couldn't have done it without my man, Vader. So, we are ready to go home. This is gonna be a sick video. We can't wait for you guys to see it this Friday, October 14th, the same day that Halloween Ends comes out. Make sure you see them both. The boogeyman is coming.